Hello class, we will be continuing the previous chapter. Today's topic will be sexuality in flower. Okay, flower can be divided into two types on the basis of sexuality. There are or rather three types: bisexual, unisexual and neuter flower. First let us understand what is bisexual flower. Bisexual flower are those flower in which you have both the male as well as female reproductive system. If in a single flower you have both the male and female reproductive system, it is referred to as bisexual flower. Other terms are given, those are hermaphrodite, perfect flower. All this bisexual, hermaphrodite and perfect, all these three means the same thing. That means if a flower has both the reproductive part, that is male as well as female reproductive part, it is referred to as bisexual flower. Your example can be your China rose, it has both the reproductive parts. Okay. Next is your unisexual flower, uni one. That means you have either male or female reproductive part, not both. Okay, either one of them. So that is referred to as unisexual, or also it is referred to as a imperfect flower. Okay, examples are your maize, papaya. These all have, the flower of these plants have either a male or a female reproductive part, not both. Okay, so that's referred to as unisexual flower. Now those flower in unisexual which has only male reproductive part, it is known as staminate. Okay, and the one which has only female reproductive part, it is known as pistillate. Okay, so bisexual means bi means two, so it has both the reproductive parts in a single flower. Unisex, uni means one, that means it has either male or female reproductive part in a single flower. If it has only male reproductive part, it is referred to as staminate, and if it has only female reproductive part, it is known as pistillate. Okay, now there are certain flowers where you don't have either male or female reproductive part. Those flowers are referred to as neuter flower. Example is your sunflower. Okay, they did the ray of florets of sunflower, they don't have either male or female reproductive part. So that's all you have to know in sexuality of in flower. Others, what are the male reproductive parts of a flower, what are the female reproductive parts, we have already discussed in detail in our previous class. Okay, now we will be discussing again about the features related to calyx, corolla in detail. We will be discussing about the different parts of the flower. The first wall of the flower, which is also referred to as a calyx, individually it is referred to as a sepal. Okay, this green leaf like structure that you see, okay, these are your calyx. Okay, the function of this calyx, what is the function of this calyx? The function of the calyx is to protect the flower. You can see this hibiscus in its bud stage, the protection of the flower in the bud stage is done by the calyx. Okay, now calyx, you can on the whether it is fused together or it is free, on the basis of that it can be divided into two types, gamocephalous and your polycephalous. Gamocephalous, these are the sepals which are fused together. Okay, sepals are fused together, one sepal is attached to other sepal. This kind of arrangement is known as gamocephalous. In case of polycephalous, your sepals are not attached with each other, they are free from each other. Okay, so like you can see here. Okay, your sepals were free from each other. Those type of arrangement is known as polycephalous. The second wall, that is corolla. Individually it is known as petals. As you know, corolla is the colorful part of the flower. Okay, what is the function of the corolla? The function of the corolla is to attract the flower of insects or birds in order to carry out cross pollination. Now similar to the sepals, on the basis of whether the petals are attached together or free, it can be divided into two types. Gamopetalous means petals are attached with each other. Okay, and polysepalous means the petals are free from each other. Now look at Androsium. Now look at the different parts of Androsium. Androsium, what is, it's the male reproductive part. So what are the different parts that comes under Androsium? You have anther, you have filament. Okay, now this filament helps in attachment or holding this anther, and inside this anther only you have the pollen grains, and all together you call it as stamen. Look at this. Monodelphous, it's arranged in a single stamen, all the anthers, it's forming a single bunch and being arranged. In case of didelphous, 2 bunches. Okay, and in case of polydelphous, you have several bunches, more than 2 bunches. Okay, look at this diagram. On the basis of arrangement of the now on the basis of arrangement of the stamen also, you can group it into different types, your Androsium. In case of monodelphous, all the stamens are attached in a single filament, only your anthers are free. Okay, that can be seen in your China rose. In case of didelphous, you have 2 bunches. Let us take the example of P. In case of P, 9 stamens form 1 bunch and 1 of it is free. Okay, in case of polydelphous, what will you see? All the stamens forms more than 2 bunches. Okay, several groups of stamens are bunch of stamens are formed. Discussing about Gynosium, though we have already discussed about it in our last class. So different parts of the Gynosium are, you have stigma, where your pollen grains are going to come and stick, so that fertilization is going to take place. Okay, you have a thin tube, okay, connecting the, acting as a pathway for the pollen grain to enter the ovary, that is known as style. Okay, then you have the main reproductive part, main female reproductive part is your ovary. Inside ovary you have a ovule. Okay, now the places where these ovules are placed, okay, these are known as placenta. Okay, so what are the parts of a Gynosium? You have stigma, you have style, you have ovary. In case of, as you can see the stigma, what happens here? Here your pollen grains are going to come and stick. Then you have a style connecting it to the ovary. Inside ovary you have a female reproductive, female sex cell. Those are ovules, okay, where your male sex cells are going to come and attach for fertilization to occur, and where the place where these ovules are placed, it is referred to as placenta. You just have to know the meaning of these 2 terminology, that is inflorescence and placentation. Okay, as I told you, what is placenta, right? Placenta were the places where your ovules were placed. Okay, now different flowers have a different arrangement of this placenta, so that arrangement of a placenta is known as placentation. Okay, and next one is inflorescence. What do you mean by inflorescence? Inflorescence means arrangement of the flower. The arrangement of the flower is known as inflorescence. So that's all about this particular chapter.